Good evening. My name is Vince Noblet, President of the Speedway Town Council. It is August 28, 2023. It is 7 p.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order. First off, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Start off with introductions. On my far right, our town manager, Grant Kleinhens.
Good evening.
To his immediate left, Councilor Eileen Fisher.
Good evening.
To her immediate left is Councilor David Lindsay.
Good evening.
My far left, our town council, Bob Clutter.
Evening.
Next on his right, town councilor Gary Rakes.
Good evening.
And my immediate left, Vice President Gary Pittigo.
Hello.
So first on up on the agenda is minutes and approval of the minutes that for August 14th, 2023 meeting. Those minutes have been distributed to council. If there's no changes or corrections, please, if there's no changes, we'll approve them as submitted. Hearing none, they're approved. Next, we have an event request for Oktoberfest presentation by USEC Racing. Cheryl.
Hi. Yes, so I'm here presenting on behalf of USAC Racing tonight for the approval of the Oktoberfest. It is scheduled for Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. Just in case you're not familiar, Oktoberfest is a joint event between USAC Racing and our SRO World Challenge. It's to celebrate the road racing and the largest 8-hour racing event, the Indy 8-hour endurance that's being held at IMS on October 6th through the 8th. Oktoberfest itself will consist of the showing of cars, fan engagement opportunities, and DJ music. Just a little background for you. The event was approved by the SRT, which is the Speedway Event Review Team, part of our approval process for any event. It was approved on July 5th. That consists of a representative from Speedway Police, Speedway Fire, Communications, Speedway Parks, Streets, our town manager, and then the permitting officer from the clerk treasurer's office. From there, it went to our last town council meeting, August 14th. It was discussed by USAC Racing, and you decided to table it for further discussion. So therefore, I'm here tonight to give you a little bit more information. USAC did, since the last meeting, USAC Racing did send out an email to all businesses on Main Street, and I think you have copies of those businesses there to see if them had any concerns or issues with the layout or the timing or the date. As of this morning, we had not heard back from any of them with any concerns. For the event itself, the start time would be 6 p.m. We'll end at 8 o'clock. The Main Street, we're requesting to be closed from 14th Street to 16th Street, beginning at 4 p.m. for setup. The request from the town for our services would be for the SPD to assist with securing Main Street, for any cars, getting them out of there for setup purposes. Setting up, street department will set up closures and barricades. No parking signs will be posted as needed. Communications, which is me, will promote the event by sending through our regular communication channels. And then I will also send advance and reminders to residents and businesses alike on the event itself, along with street and parking restrictions. Really, that is all the information that I have. Happy to answer any questions, but we are asking you to approve this event again this year.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the special event request as presented.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. I'll open up for any questions for Cheryl in relationship to this event.
Cheryl, is it always the practice to send emails when we contact the businesses? Is that how it's been done in the past?
Actually, when I started 2 years ago, there really wasn't a process. So the process that I created since then is the person who's waiting to have the event comes to me, eventually, somehow they get to me. They fill in an application that gives basic information. I call together the group that I mentioned, the SERT group, and invite the requester for the meeting actually in to discuss it as an open format. That gives streets and the police department, they're really critical in any kind of event that takes place on Main Street. They can answer any issues or problems or discuss logistics of layout at that time. So once that's approved, then they come to council for approval. Once you approve it, then in this case USAC, but whoever the requester is, does contact any businesses that it will directly affect, if it's their parking or where it's located, basically. After that, then I contact the businesses. Just as a reminder, this is taking place. We know you know about it. For instance, the Wilshaw Apartments, I always contact them and remind them and request that they ask their residents to use the temporary entrance off 16th Street. Praxair, I usually ask them if it's in that area to use their back entrance as well. And then just continue with the updates. So yeah, that's kind of the policy that we adopted at that time.
Just so you know, I know
Yeah.
you weren't able to be at our last meeting.
Right.
Great you get to come to the second meeting.
Oh, I don't mind. That's okay.
No, I know. But I raised the question about how the businesses had not been contacted, so that's why this came tonight.
Oh, okay.
That's just why I'm asking if that's the normal procedure for how it's handled.
It is.
Do you ever get a response from any of them? I know she said on this
Yeah,
one.
actually, occasionally, never objecting to it, more of questions, and most of the time it's thank you for letting me know in advance. Only one time with another event that we actually ended up asking them to move the event earlier this year. It was during the month of May, so there were too many conflicts, but the businesses did reach out and say, it's going to cause a lot of hardship, and it was more than one business. So we did postpone it, or I think ended up moving it elsewhere.
And I know you've done a lot of work getting that group together, and it has not gone unnoticed. I know
Well, thank you. Thanks.
Definitely a lot of good work on that. Appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just to parallel on some of what Councilor Lindsay was saying, I see that you say it's approved by the CERT, which all those different departments, some of the key ones that have the biggest challenges are police and somewhat fire, and then streets department as well in terms of setup. They're all good.
They're good, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm hearing no other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of special event requests for Oktoberfest presented by the USAC Racing, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, agreement for ISC and the Town of Speedway Productions, 2023-24 grant.
Yes, so this is an agreement between us and ISC Sports Network. Anytime our Speedway TV employees produce a sporting event, we send some of those to them. If they post it and sell an ad, we get 50% of those proceeds. This is for the school year, the 2023-24 school year, August 15th through June 30th of next year. This is the third such agreement that we've had with them. It's been reviewed by Bob. We recommend approval at this point.
Mr. President, I make a motion, we approve the agreement between ISC and the town.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. So I'll open up for discussion. Is there any questions for Grant concerning the agreement? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and make a call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. Next up is approval of a quote from Globe Asphalt for the paving at the water treatment plant grant.
Yes, so we discussed this a couple of meetings ago. We did request 2 quotes to pave the asphalt gravel area around the new water plant building because we had concerns about the long-term longevity of that gravel as it drains off the building. We just had concerns that it was going to eat away, so we asked for a couple of quotes. We got 2 quotes. The low quote was from Globe Asphalt Paving. Their quote was in the amount of $54,074.64, which was $1,350.36 less than DC Construction's quote of $55,425. So we are recommending approval of Globe Asphalt for their proposal.
Okay.
And you might be looking at it saying, well, that says 53,444. You've got to add the 1,900 in, which
Oh, the small print.
they said it's an alternate, but we asked them for that as a part of the bid.
Okay.
So Globe is lower.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the bid for Globe Asphalt for the water plant as presented.
Okay, get a motion and a second. Open it for discussions. Any questions for Grant?
One quick question.
Yes.
The alternate fee, what is that for again? The 1980?
Yep, so it is, resurfacing the entry driveway as it comes into that facility to match up that asphalt.
Okay, does Globe, are they?
Yes,
doing
it is,
that?
it is included in their price, yes.
Thank you.
And that was, as I mentioned, that was something when they quoted on it, we're like, we want this because we don't want those two different asphalts, which will cause ponding of water or other issues.
Okay. So, other questions? I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the quote from Globe Asphalt for the paving of the water treatment plant garage area, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is Resolution 2023-05. It's a local resolution, Town Council of Town of Speedway affirming the recommendations of the Planning Commission and adopting the comprehensive plan. Grant?
Yes, so as you know, we held the public hearing on August the 14th. We had one comment during that meeting. Tonight, the council is being asked to adopt a resolution approving and making that, accepting the recommendation of the Plan Commission and making the plan that we have put together our acting and living document. Tonight, though, we do have two resolutions. One will be A, one will be B. In discussions with our consultant on the grant through OKRA, the Office of Community and Rural Affairs,
Right.
He was pretty adamant that they want this form of resolution. I think Bob, as we discussed it, he said, well, that doesn't include some of the things he would like to see. So we're going to do both resolutions. I've only got it listed once on the agenda. We'll send this one to our consulting engineer in OKRA, and the other one we will keep for our records and put in the final comprehensive plan document.
Which one's A and which one's B?
So A is this shorter one. B is the one that Bob drafted up that believes is better, superior.
Bob, can we make a motion
To approve both.
to approve both?
Yes, they
Okay.
both involve the adoption of the comprehensive plan.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2023-05A and 2023-05B as presented by our town manager.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Is there any other questions concerning the motion on the resolution of the Town Council, Town of Speedway affirming the recommendation of the Planning Commission and adopting the comprehensive plan? Hearing none. No other questions? I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of Resolution 2023-05A and 2023-05B signify by stating aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
So please make sure we sign both of those resolutions tonight so that I can get one to OKRA and the other to our consultant to put into the final plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 1378, an ordinance to add a new chapter to Title 6 of the Speedway Municipal Code concerning density, space, and use locations requirements for dwellings in the town of Speedway. Bob, would you like to speak to that?
Certainly. Yes, this is an ordinance that Grant and I started working on 9 months ago, probably at least. It's gone through several iterations, but the intent is all about public safety, the safety of the citizens and the residents of the town of Speedway, so that there are some minimum standards in place for the occupancy of residences, whether they be apartments or residential structures. These are the minimum standards, so the number of people that can occupy a single dwelling unit, the number of people that can live in a bedroom or sleep in a bedroom, and it also has some minimum dimensions for living spaces, minimum dimensions for bedrooms, some life safety issues that they all have to have an exterior egress. All of those come from, or the majority of those standards come from the Indiana Building Code. We've talked to different town employees about this particular ordinance. They've reviewed it. Joe has, John has.
Fire chief.
Fire chief has, and they're all in supportive stance of it. And so I would be happy to answer any questions and would recommend your adoption of, at least on first reading. I would recommend 2 readings.
Okay.
First reading tonight of ordinance number 1378.
Mr. President, I move that we approve ordinance 1378, first reading as presented.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. I'll go ahead and open it up for any questions concerning ordinance 1378, first reading. Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote of ordinance 1378, an ordinance to add a new chapter to Title 6 of the Speedway Municipal Code concerning density, space, use, and location requirements for dwellings within the town of Speedway. If there's no other questions or concerning that, we'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of ordinance 1378, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
President Noblet, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just going to say the second reading will be
Yeah.
at your next meeting on September 11th.
And
Okay.
I could have said this earlier, and I didn't. This particular ordinance and these topics we've talked about for quite a while.
Right.
A number of times it's been vetted publicly, it's been vetted by consultants and everything else, lots of other folks. So I feel really confident about that language. That's why I didn't ask any questions.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll move on to item 8 on the agenda, approval of consultant services agreement between the town of Speedway and Brown & Brown of Indiana LLC, and approving clerk treasurer to sign broker of record letter for insurance. And you're going to handle this one, Grant?
I'll handle it. I'll be Philip for this item.
Okay.
So we have been working on this for the past 3 or 4 months. We had discussions with the council expressing that we wanted to look at various options to control costs with our various insurance. A majority of our costs with insurance comes from employee health insurance. Over the past 5 years, we've had anywhere from 7 to 12% increases. That's not uncommon in the industry, but it's time for us to look at other options. So we went out, we discussed this with 5 different brokerage firms, including our current vendor, and the committee, which consisted of staff as well as a couple of town councilors, Vince and Gary were on that, made the decision that we would propose to hire Brown & Brown of Indiana LLC as our broker of record. So we're proposing to approve their agreement tonight. This agreement is for a 5-year period, and they guarantee their fee will not increase for that 5-year period. That fee is $30,000, which is a significant decrease over others. That's not the only reason we chose them. We chose them because they have a lot of municipal and school experience with managing health insurance. We believe they have the tools and skills necessary to help us. We'd like to go towards self-insurance or a modified self-insurance, which tries to minimize the risk as much as possible, but also stop providing health insurance companies with extra money that we don't use. So we think this is a good move. Also, this resolution or approval of this will direct Philip to sign the agent of record letter and send that on so that Brown & Brown can start working on that process, which we hope to have wrapped up for a renewal by the end of November, 1st of December, to start on January 1 of 2024. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you might have at this time.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the approval of consultant services agreement between the town of Speedway and Brown & Brown of Indiana LLC.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. I'll open it up for questions for Grant.
Grant, a couple questions.
Yes.
As I always have. You said this is a 5-year agreement, but there is an out if we,
Yes, there is.
okay, and it's $30,000 for them. How much of a savings are we,
We don't know that quite yet.
I mean, how much do we pay for the group?
That's about a $70,000 savings over what we have traditionally paid.
Okay.
And this is not common in the industry.
$70,000 per year? Are you,
Our fee was $100,000 per year to our advisor previously.
Okay.
So this is 30% of that. And will be a big savings to that health insurance cost.
Grant, you might just let the public know how long that you were researching this.
Well, we started this back in March and April, looking at different options, looking at different firms. We held interviews in 1st of June. They spilled over into July. I think we made our final decisions about who we wanted to go with at the end of July, 1st of August. So we've negotiated this agreement, brought it forward, and are ready to move forward so that we can once again get everything ready for a renewal on January 1, hopefully under a new program, a modified self-insurance or a self-funded program.
Right.
Because once again, when you do traditional fully insured, you pay the fee no matter what. You can have a great year, you're still paying Anthem $2 or $2.5 million. Under self-insurance or self-funded, if you have those savings, you make those savings. Now, there's also a flip side of that. You can have higher exposure, but it's important to build up an account with those savings so that you can mitigate that over a 3 to 5 year period.
Right.
But we do believe we'll have savings of, we're hoping 15, 20%. Trying to be conservative, but we can definitely save at least that much.
So you might let the public know too, is, how many employees are covered by this?
So we have about 125 lives on the plan. Not every employee is on it. Some have insurance through their spouse or don't accept it because of various reasons. So we have about 125 people on the plan.
Okay. Any other questions for Grant? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call for a motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye if you approve this as submitted. Aye.
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 Okay. And those that abstain, motion is approved. 4-0, 4-1-0.
401.
401. Okay, got it. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of claims and adjustments.
Thank you. I'm presenting these on behalf of your clerk treasurer. I think you've all received copies. He's requesting approval of the claims with the run docket of August 12th through August 24th. Happy to answer any questions.
And just for the record, the claims docket is $2,755,370.46.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the claims as presented to us.
Second.
Okay, you got a motion and a second. Open it up for discussions. Are there any questions for Bob?
There were no utility adjustments, correct?
That's correct. No utility adjustments this time.
Okay. Okay. So no other questions? We can go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of the claims as submitted? I guess from Bob Clutter and slash Philip Faust, who put them together. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next up is our town manager report. Grant?
I have no report for you this evening.
No report.
No report. Doesn't mean we're not doing anything, but I've spoken a
I
lot
know you
tonight.
got a lot of things going on, from that standpoint. Report from council members. Gary Pettigo.
Nothing to report on this evening.
Councilor Eileen Fisher.
This evening.
Councilor David Lindsay.
Nothing further.
Councilor Gary Rakes.
Same.
No, nothing to
Nothing.
report.
Thank you.
Okay. Last on the agenda is a report from Town Council President. I just want to, again, state that I know we've been extremely busy with this time of year, and then also with the heat related. We got kids back in school, and we got a lot of traffic around our schools. One thing that I have noticed is that our police presence around those schools has increased, and then also, there's also a lot of speed indication signs that have went up. Grant, that has definitely helped in at least controlling speeds in those areas. The rest of the part of the town, we still have a lot to do.
We still have people that even ignore those signs, but I think a lot of people have taken notice and end up driving slower than they normally would have, and I think that's a success.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, that public safety is, again, primary interest of the town council in making sure that we're operating in a safe manner, and it's important that we continue to do that. That's all I have for tonight's, and so if there's no other business for tonight, I'm going to go ahead and call for adjournment at 7:27. Thank you.